Okay, so now our one part is also there remain. It is the physiology of bryophytes, right? So as it is to be assumed that the physiology of bryophytes may be having the different from those of the higher plants, and as there are the two wide groups are there. So in bryophyta we are knowing the gametophyte and the sporophytic stage is there, and therefore the investigation on the basis of physiological, as it is to be supposed having this in the same lines like that of pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms are there. So in bryophyta up till now some there are the physiological process are discussed. So one is the water relation. So as we are knowing, bryophytes also commonly occurring in the rainy season because humidity is more, and in the some regions where the thick forest areas or the certain high humidity is there, so they also shows the occurrence is there. So in bryophyta, as they are to be supposed as the members of Atrachophyta, that is water absorption takes place either from the plant surface or through the rhizoids. Therefore, they are called as Atrachophyta. Then these bryophytes mainly grouped in three categories as on the basis of water relation as ectohydric, endohydric and the mixohydric. Ectohydric means what? Generally species which are capable of absorbing water or solids by surface absorption. As some good examples are there, leafy jungle mammals or the some liverworts are there. So they having the well developed conducting strand is there, or they generally conducting strand like the xylem phloem not possess well developed, but they, it is there. Then endohydric means they are able to generally which are able to absorb water or soluble mainly due to the rhizoids. We are knowing on ventral surface rhizoids and the scales are present. So they are generally partially checking the availability of the water, and there is a surface water is generally absorbed. Good examples are the mosses and majority of the thalloid liverworts are there. Then in mixohydric generally there are the good examples like the Fineria moss is there, as they absorb the generally solids by both the ways as ecto and the endohydric method. For example, in the some there are the acting as the leaves as external capillary spaces present, or cell to cell membrane and the walls are present. Then through the free space of the cell walls are present, and in higher mosses water moves with the plant from one part to the another through the specialized conducting cells called as the hydroids are there. So in the some mosses these hydroids are present. So this is the one part. Second part in bryophyta in physiological process the mineral nutrition is there. In mineral nutrition NPK, magnesium and calcium deficiency, it is already have been reported in the some examples like Markensia, Barbilla moss is there, Junger mania, then uh, hel, hyaloeonium, right? Then there are the some in Markensia polymorpha. It is observed that the calcium result in the immediate death of the growing point, and the deficiency of nitrogen and phosphorus result in the deterioration of the scales are there. So rhizoids and the lower epidermis generally they shows the due to deficiency of nitrogen and phosphorus. Then in the some lacking the NO3 also become the light green, and in fact the species of bryophytes has the specific requirement of particular element. So in mineral nutrients these are essential. Then other types, some examples like the Scopophila, it is a called as a copper moss is there, commonly found on the rocks where the rich element copper is there, and generally they it is in 1972 Brooks they have recommended the mineralization process, and in the bryoflora generally it is read as an instrument. So some we are calling as the indicators of the these certain conditions are there. Then some mosses like the Racometrium, they grows on the hard granite in the Himalayan region with Grimia moss is there, and there is a mixture of the bryoflora generally which grow on the polymetallic substrate is there. Polymetallic means many metallic conditions are present. Our Indian scientist Pant and Tiwari in 1989 reported the Markensia barbula and Mylicopharia, which are a mixture, grows on the rock, which is rich in the copper, lead, and the zinc. And there are the commonly Escot, a well-known locality of Pitogad. Then Hyophila involuta, Tortula, and the Zygodon. They are also grown in the iron hematite Ap2O2O3 substrate, which is having the alkaline in the nature. Whereas Jungermania, it is reported Jungermania and the Campylopus moss and Pogonatum, they are reported in the limnolitic substrate, that is the iron, oxygen, nitrogen, this one. So you having the good examples are there. In physiology of bryophytes generally, as they are having the different higher compared with the different higher plants are there, so we have to go particularly with this respect. Then secondly, one part is there oil bodies, they are present in the bryophytes. So we are knowing in liverworts they are characteristics, and they are absent in the hornworts and the mosses. So as the oil bodies are not found elsewhere in the whole plant kingdom, and therefore these oil bodies are showing the cytoplasmic inclusion made up of different types of volatile ethereal oils are there. Their number, size, shape, then surface structure and refractive index are also very unique and specific. So it is possible to study these conditions of each and every genus and the species. The function of oil bodies in liverworts has been a matter of controversy there. Nowadays, for the molecular study, generally we have to see the firstly the DNA extraction, and later on it is also possible. Then oil bodies show the functions as follows. Some oil bodies protect the plant body from the bright light. They provide the mechanism to protect the plant against desiccation, and some biologists believe that these oil bodies helps to survive the plant in the extreme cold environment also. So therefore they are also called as a cold protection bodies. Nextly, oil bodies generally due to present, so not attacked by the snails and the insects. Then in liverworts, the primitive archegoniate land plants, therefore oil bodies have lost their original function, and they help in the taxonomic study of the liverworts, because for comparison oil bodies are important. Upper part, middle part, and the lower basal portion of the lip lobes are there. They emit the different types of odors also, and the presence of oil bodies may be correlated with overwintering. There are the American scientist R.M. Schuster in 1966 recognized two basic types of oil bodies, as in Jungermanians 2 or more per cell, and in Markensians one oil body is present. Then nextly, while going to the certain plants are there, so the plant body of bryophyte is gametophytic. Then vascular system, it is there, xylem and phloem is absent, and secondly the rhizoids they are showing. Then essential water is the essential for fertilization. In general character we have seen. Secondly, our Indian scientists Kumar and Sinha, they have shown the different morphological, then anatomical, then fertilization, spore germination, and physiology. Then Saxena and Glim in 1991 have proposed the several arguments for their use as a aquatic bryophytes are there, and here the some good examples they have given as the Ambilisteregium riparium. It is the moss which is cosmopolitan in distribution. Then secondly, Uri Nichium. It is having a moss only found in northern region. In 1976, Empan and others in 1980 they have shows the content of heavy in the pollutants and the heavy metals of these waters are there. Then Fontanellis moss it shows in the northern part which is have the analyzed the copper and the lead. Pb is there. Then Fontanelli species squamosa is there, so it shows the pollutants and the heavy metals. Then our Indian scientist Pandey in 1986, Sinha in 1988, and Kumar and Sinha in 89 shown the river Ganga near the Campo region is there, so which appear on the banks due to affected of the river water quality, and these bryophytes as Rixia gangetica, which shows tuberculate rhizoids, and marginal generally they are more developed. In Rixia frosti, due to pollution, generally they shows the only smooth walled rhizoids are there. Then male and female plants are the separate. In Funaria hygrometrica found generally rich in the phosphate and the calcium like this one. So you remember this part. Then in relation to having our some studies are there according to Muller in studied the 210 species of liverworts, out of which 187%, 89% shows the oil bodies. Sister studied 345 holocarpic or holarctic species, generally shows the 90% has the oil bodies, and they found generally the different annual and the biannual liverwort forms are there. As per our Indian scientists Udar and their associates, they also studied the morpho-anatomical character in 100 taxa. The size, shape and number of the oil bodies are there. So Miller also studied the optical properties of and the specific gravity and saponification value of these oil bodies of the some hepatic members, and it shows the odor such as leptolegenia odor is having the licorial type. Then odor is similar to angiosperm osmorrhiza. Then conosepalum, it shows the strong mushroom like smell. Then Lopogia bicrinata, odor similar to cedar wood oil. Then Geocalyx, it shows the turpentine like odor, and therefore the oil bodies are usually colorless except with some few exceptions are there, as there is a Calipogia trichomes and these Lopocolia. This shows the blue oil bodies are found. So like this one, some adaptations in the bryophytes just we have seen. Next lecture we will see lecture number 11 on the same topic. Okay, thanks to all.